Hi there YouTube! For those of you who haven't been watching my channel regularly, I've just done a review of the LEGO Dimensions Doctor Who Level Fun Pack, or Level Adventure Pack, or, whatever they're called. And in it, I received the exclusive at the moment to the LEGO Dimensions set version of the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi Doctor, and I did a review of that set as what it was like as just a LEGO set without the in-game element. Now, you can see in front of you there are two LEGO type Doctor Who figures in front of you. One of them is the LEGO version of the 12th Doctor, the other one is the Character Options character building version of the Doctor, which was done just before, I believe, character building stopped doing Doctor Who merchandise, but not really sure what's going on there. So, in this review, we'll be doing a comparison between the original, first version of the 12th Doctor and the new and current version of the Doctor in brick building form. So, what are we waiting for? Let's do it. Alright, so as part of the intro, you had plenty of time to just take a look at these figures, and right from the start you can see that they're definitely very, very different in the way that they've been done. Yes, there's some similarities, but I wouldn't be going any stretch to say that they'd taken a similar approach. The first thing to look at is the faces. I think that's really important. And you can see that the character building style is one where you don't have a uniform head style, there aren't detachable hair, and so you've got a much more humanized style face. So that's why it's much narrower, as you can see. He's got stuff like ears molded on, which LEGO sets don't, but he also has very minimal hair. On the LEGO side, you can see you've got the standard minifigure head and also a minifigure style hairpiece, which means it's a lot larger, a lot more caricature, and lacks details like the ears. In terms of which face I actually prefer, I actually think both of them are somewhat not quite the Doctor, if that makes sense. I talked about in my other review that I actually quite liked the face on the LEGO version. But going back and, watching the show and taking a look, I actually feel like neither of them are particularly great at getting across the expression of the Doctor. I think this one from Character Options is a little bit too happy and it looks too young, there aren't enough wrinkles. And by contrast, I think the Doctor, the LEGO version, is just too old and seems very unexpressive, and, the Doctor doesn't usually have that kind of face. He's usually got something else going on, whereas I think this smirk is just a little bit too far. In terms of the faces and heads, I'm not sure they got quite either of them right, but I think overall I would pick the LEGO one just because I think the hair is done better and it's more proportionate with the rest of the body. Then looking at the outfits. So you can see that they're a different style of the same outfit. So the Doctor Who one is the same coat, but you can see that first of all, it's a brighter blue. It's a more rich blue as opposed to the kind of darker, more navy blue on the Character Options version. And this one, it's actually a little bit bigger. So as you can see, the details are bigger, but somewhat less defined. So on the Doctor Who one, Doctor Who LEGO one, you can see he's got his coat opened like that. Whereas on the character building one, he's actually got it separated further up. He's got the collar and everything further up the top, and that's because, as I'll show you when I turn him around, he's actually got a molded cloak piece rather than the LEGO version, which doesn't have that. So in terms of the chest detailing and stuff, I think it's pretty similar. It's interesting to note that the character building version has a black leg piece as opposed to the Doctor Who LEGO one, which is just blue. So really not a whole lot of difference there. The only other thing is that, stylistically, Character Options and character building go for a slightly more humanoid version, and as you can see that from the way the shoulders are designed, and the way the arms are designed, and the legs. So in terms of which one looks more realistic, head aside, I think Character Options wins, but that's purely based on the way that they do their actual figures. So that's not something that's inherent to this Doctor Who figure, but it's something that's inherent to their whole line. So looking at the details then on the back, if we spin around my review stand, yep, Dodgy Brothers review stand right there, you can see that neither of them have a whole lot of details on the back. The LEGO Doctor Who version has got the tiny little black stripe, as I talked about in my original initial review. Character Options has got nothing, but what Character Options does have, as you can see, is actually his torso. Part of his torso is a cloak piece, so he actually does have a kind of coat that comes down over the back of his legs. This does somewhat limit leg articulation backwards, but I think overall it adds to his look. So I think the character options one is actually kind of doing a really good job of giving him that cloaked kind of look, even though in the show his cloak doesn't necessarily hang down that far on him, and it does restrict his articulation. So, looking at that, we can see then we come to one of the most important elements of Doctor Who, or at least the new Who from 2005 onwards, the sonic screwdrivers. So you can see that they've actually, the same sonic screwdriver, it's the same sonic, but they've done very, very different interpretations on it between the two companies. So first focusing in on the character building one, that's a very simple silver sonic screwdriver. It's in the closed position and it's all one color, one piece. So I think that's kind of, does the job. I think this is where LEGO starts to edge ahead. You can see that now focusing on the LEGO one, it's a gold, which is more appropriate to the actual look of the screwdriver. It's got painting in two places. First of all, the ceramic handle, and also the green light on the end, which I think is, important because it shows the Sonic is working. Moreover, although it's in the open position and you can't change it, I think the opening position is again more iconic than the closed position. So it looks nicer in that regard. In fairness, as with most minifigures, both of them are substantially larger than they actually are in real life. Like compared to the rest of the figures, they're quite big. But that's just something in the way that they work. So then it really comes down to, now that we've looked at all the different details, which figure do I think is the best? I think this is a really tough question to decide. I was a really big fan of the 11th Doctor version that Character Building did, which I'll do a review when I get the 11th Doctor LEGO version, which comes out next month. So for me, this is really hard because I do have a lot of sentimental attachment through all my Mark on Who stuff with this style. But I think there's just something about the way they've done the head of the LEGO one, combined with the really awesome sonic screwdriver, which is really significantly more detailed and significantly more interesting and exciting to look at than the character building one, that makes me say that even though character building has got the more realistic body style and the cloak, I think that the LEGO Doctor Who one does just win out. And also has a little bit more play value, considering you can much more easily change around his hair and his face, his legs, and as I explained in some of my earlier reviews, the LEGO stuff is more cross-compatible because it's square rather than the rounded feet that you've got on the character option stuff. So there you go, guys. I hope this has helped you take a look at the differences between the two different brick-style Doctor Who figures of the 12th Doctor. Let me know your thoughts. Do you have one that's more favourite than the other? Are you happy that LEGO is taking over Doctor Who merchandise as opposed to character options? Personally, I was really disappointed with character options towards the end. They didn't release, as far as I know, any of the products they were meant to release this year. So, the new TARDIS, for example, has been postponed 2 years in a row, and that wasn't something I was really happy with. But that said, as far as we've only got one LEGO Doctor Who set confirmed, and I really think that wouldn't do justice to the series, considering Character Building did quite a few sets by the end of their run. So I would hope that if LEGO, picks up Doctor Who as they have, they're going to continue to do more than just a little TARDIS set that we're getting next month, and hopefully go into some more exciting stuff. And more figures. But we'll have to see what happens. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching. That's all we've got time for. This is Extreme Trains.